Hey guys, we're doing a chemistry lesson today. I have a couple chemistry students in here. They could probably do this lesson better than me. Here we go. Here's jokes. Who always goes to bed with their shoes on?
Who?
A horse. What is it? This is easy. What is a kangaroo's favorite year? Leap year. And how much money does a skunk have? 1 cent. That's it. That's the highlight of this lesson. Okay, so today I'm going to kind of review what I went over in class, which was on naming compounds. So I'm going to go back to the notes. Okay, and just go over this again. So what we're working on now, we're not going to be doing any calculations at all. We're going to be working on naming compounds and writing their formulas. So real quick, going over this, the first thing we're going to be working on today is naming binary. So compounds with 2 elements, like water would be binary. H2O, it's got 2 H's and O, but it's got H and O, so it is binary. What we're going to be working on today is naming binary ionic compounds. Those are compounds that have a metal and a non-metal in them. You okay, Allie? And what I'm going to work on the lesson for tomorrow is naming binary molecular or non-ionic compounds, and those are compounds that have 2 non-metals. So here are the rules, and you got to have rules in doing this. First rule is the positive ion is always written first. So, and the negative ion second. So you always do that way. There are 2 kinds of positive ions, and I like the way our book describes it. The type 1 ions are the first column, the alkali metals. This is if the location of the first element in the formula comes from if the first element comes from the first column, the second column, or is aluminum, zinc, silver, which is a little diagonal. Then for these elements, they're always going to end, I guess, except for silver and zinc and aluminum. I guess they all end in IUM. And so those are type 1s, where it's just the name, there's no reference to a number. Then there's metals what the book calls are type 2, and those are all the other metals. So those would be all mainly the transition metals, but again, elements that don't come from the first column, the second column, or the little diagonal. For the type 2 ions is when you use a Roman numeral, and what goes in the blank here is the word charge. Charge. The Roman numeral represents the charge of the ion, the charge of the positive ion. We are not going to do B. We are not going to worry about the older classical names, so you don't need to worry about that. And then the negative ions, their name always ends in IDE. Okay, so I want to go then to worksheet 5.1. So in worksheet 5.1, it looks like this, okay? And so again, just kind of quick review of some of the stuff we did in class. So if I do look at number 8, I'm writing on the board here. So if I look at number 8, so the first thing you got to decide, so we have LIS, is you got to locate the first element on the periodic table. So Li, again, on the periodic table is way over here. So that means it's a type 1. So again, if the first element comes from the first column, the second column, or this little diagonal, then all you do is just the name. So Li is lithium. And then the second element, when it's binary, this is going to change as we go. But for right now, we're only going to have binary compounds. So the second element will always end in IDE. So that's number 8. Number 7, Na3N. So again, the first thing you have to do, well, ultimately, the first thing we're going to do is count the elements. But for right now, well, they're always going to be 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is locate the first element, and sodium is right by lithium. It's right here. So again, this is a type 1, so it's just the name. So it's sodium nitride. And again, notice the ending IDE. So those are type 1s. On this worksheet, 1 through 8 are just type 1s. Okay, then beginning with 9 through 19, they're all type 2. So let me do a couple of these. This is when we have to do a Roman numeral. So number 19, CuO. So again, if I locate copper, copper is right here on the periodic table, which means it is not in the first column, not in the second column, not in this diagonal. That means I need a Roman numeral. So I've got copper, and Roman numeral, and then again, oxide. So it's still that way. But I've got to figure out the Roman numerals. These are the type 2. So to do that, the first thing I do is I look up the charge of the second ion, the anion. And if I do that, oxygen in the upper right-hand corner is a -2. And really all we need to know is a 2. So I take that number and I multiply by this subscript and I divide by this subscript. So 2 times 1 is 2, divided by 1, this is copper to oxide. One that you can cross out, it's because it's got kind of a weird ion that I'm never going to ask you about. Don't need to worry about number 20, so you can take out that one. Okay, let me do a couple more here. So then 18 is PbBr2. So again, the first thing I do is I locate Pb on the periodic table, and Pb is right down here. So this means this is a type 2. So I got Pb, which is lead, which needs a Roman numeral. Type 2s need a Roman numeral, and then bromine. So then I look up the charge of bromine. So again, using the periodic table, so I go to bromine. Bromine is a 1. So 1 times 2 is 2, divided by 1. So this is lead 2 bromine. Okay, and those are the ones that are always seem to be the stickier ones. Do one more here, number 17. Cu2O. So again, copper. So again, if I go back, just like 19, copper is in the category of a type 2. So I need a Roman numeral. So I got copper, Roman numeral, and then oxide. So I need a Roman numeral. If I look up the charge on oxygen, it's 2. So I found that again using the periodic table a lot now. Oxygen is a 2. So I go 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2, divided by 2. This is copper 1 oxide. Okay, so 9 through 19 are going to be type 2s, and then take out 20, and then I try and mix them up. 21 through 30 is a mix of types 1s and type 2s. So 21, so I've got SrBr2. So again, it's all based off the first element in the formula. So if I go here and I look up strontium, strontium is right there, which is in the category of a type 1. First column, second column, that's where strontium is. So that means it's just the name. So it's strontium and then bromide. So if you had said here strontium Roman numeral 2 bromide, that would have been wrong. If you had said strontium dibromide, it would have been wrong. When it's a type 1, all you do is just the name. Okay, 22, CrCl3. So if I locate Cr on the periodic table, Cr is right here. So this is a type 2. So this needs a Roman numeral. So I've got Cr is chromium, and then chloride. Again, notice every one of these is ending in IDE. So then again, going back to the periodic table, and if I look up chlorine, chlorine is a 1. Chlorine's a 1. So I've got 1 times 3 is 3 divided by 1. Chromium 3 chloride. Okay, let me just do a couple more. Okay, 23 Li2S. So again, it's all based, if it's Roman numeral or not Roman numeral, is the first element. Lithium is right up here. This is a type 1, so this is just the name. So this is lithium sulfide. Okay. No Roman numeral, just a type 1. Okay, 24 Al2O3. So again, I base it off the first element. So if I look up aluminum, aluminum is right here, and this is one, there's this little diagonal of aluminum, zinc, and silver. And if you have those, it's a type 1. So it's just the name. So this is aluminum oxide. Okay, and then the last one, and I'll stop. 25 MnS So again, I look up Mn on the periodic table, and Mn is right in the middle. It's right here. So this is a type 2. This needs a Roman numeral. So I've got manganese and then sulfide. Okay, and then if I go back and I look up the charge of sulfur, sulfur is a 2. Its number is a 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. Divided by 1 is 2. It's manganese 2 sulfide. The reason you have to use a Roman numeral, like if you look in the box for manganese, it's got multiple charges. Plus 2, 3, 4, 7. When I was doing like chromium, if I look up chromium, again, plus 2, plus 3, plus 6, plus chromium, plus 2, plus 3, plus 6. And that is why we use the Roman numeral, to tell the reader what that charge is. So, okay, so be working on that tomorrow. I'm going to get into what are called type 3 ions, which are still binary. Have a good night.